What's up, everybody? It's your boy YASHIroku, and it's a time where we have to protect ourselves. We have to practice social distances. The riding season is going to be coming to an end. Well, at least suspended. Just continue to do social distances because I know I am, and that means you cannot go outside. So with that said, you enjoy the video. Well, anyway, it's your boy YASHIroku. I got another video for you this time. In this video, I'm going to be showing you, I'm going to be doing a little sim of the process of getting a Grom Clone. In this video, I'm going to be, which clone should we get? I'm going to be purchasing the simulation would be, let's see, I'm not going to do the Gen 1. Let's do something like different. I'm going to do something a little bit newer. Probably, let's do like a Ducati style. So I'm going to do probably check the SSR. I think Fariza, or AKA Ice Bear, has one. I'm going to check that one out. And there is a gen of the Ducati style for the boom. We're going to do the Ducati style. If I find anything else, we'll still, look and make our purchase. And then that's the first initial step, is looking for whichever one I want and which vendor. And the next step would be actually purchasing it. I'm going to show you different options that you can use. One of the options I did use, which is very rare that people don't use, so I'm going to see if I can do that process. Next, I'm going to be showing you, what to expect, what you're going to get or receive your delivery. Then the MCO issues, not really issues, but I'm just going to, tell you different vendors do different things. My initial experience was a lot different because my case was different than anybody else's. My case was very rare because I bought my bike off of eBay. And with that process, it's a whole different process. Really, I did nothing. Like, I pretty much just gave them the money. They shipped the bike out in the MCO. Pretty, straightforward, process, which I wouldn't really condone doing that because you are taking a risk by doing that. But the vendor that I was dealing with was legit, so I didn't have nothing to really worry about. But some people that, do something similar by buying stuff like that off of eBay or whatever, they might not have the same. I'm going to show you that process, the whole delivery process, what to expect when you do get the delivery, and, your MCO. Now I'm going to do a little bit of the DMV process, and then just finalization, and should be fun. I mean, I never did a video like this before, and I look forward to it. So let's get into it. Okay, here we are. Now, like I said, I was going to be searching for the Boom Vader, I believe the Rascal looking one, so the Ducati version. So, okay, we're on my browser, so we're gonna go. Oh, wait. You didn't see anything. Okay. All right. Anyway, so we're just going to type in Boom Vader. Just refresh it a little bit. The first one is Belmont Bikes. I never heard of that and do not know where it is. Let's see contact information. It is located, I do not know. I believe in the United States, but it doesn't really say exactly where it's from. So we're just going to go see what their products are. Street legal motorcycles. And they have a variety. They even have the Ice Bear and the GTO. GTO 250. This vendor, which is Belmont Bikes, I believe, they have a lot of stuff. They even have the Apollo. I heard about that. That's another enduro But we're going off topic. Let's see if they have the Ducati style. They do not. They sold out of the Vin 1. The Gen 1, I mean, of the Vader. They have the Street Fighter version. They have the Ninja version. They have the electric version. They have the KP Mini. They have a fairly amount of bikes. But they do not have what we want, which is the Ducati. They even have the KP. The KP, the KPR 200. They even have that automatic version, the Falcon. They do not have. Well, oh yes, they do. It's right here. It says a 150. Oh, that's not what we're looking for. That actually has the GY6 motor. That's something totally different. We're not looking for that. We can't go to that, and then we have my videos. All right, let's just go to Venom. Let's try Venom because Venom is more popular. And pops up is my bike, which is the Gen 1, but we're not looking for that. So we're going to go to products. We're going to go to street legal motorcycles. They're going to show us different ones. So we're going to go with this one. I believe this is the Boom version. I believe. Yeah, this is the Boom version, right? Yeah, this is the Boom version. So, these are your options. This one is $16,999. Now, they offer financing, but, you know, I'm not going to go to that right now. They have two colors of this bike. They have the black and they have the white. And I like that it switches. So, which one looks better? I'll probably say like the white because it has the contrasting colors. You have the option to get a helmet, but personally I wouldn't get a helmet from any of the vendors because you could find a cheaper helmet. I think my cheapest helmet I paid about maybe like $30 or $50, and that's like a decent DOT. Now with warranty, this gets interesting. Personally, for me, I really did not need a warranty because I knew if anything broke on the bike or whatever, I would replace it. Even if I messed up the motor or whatever, I probably would have got another crate motor or whatever. But this gets interesting for some people because even some people that have the warranty. Now, Venom is pretty good with their warranty. Many manufacturers are. But if you are in the water with those manufacturers that have that iffiness, then buying this warranty is pretty much useless. Now, they offer a free 1 year replacement parts warranty and 1 year for the engine. You can purchase additional years, so you can get an extra year, which will make it 2 years for $100. You can purchase another year, which would add up to 3 years for $200. Now, personally, you know, because of these Chinese bikes or whatever, the 1 year warranty is pretty much what you need. But that's for me because I'm good with wrenching and I can replace stuff. But if you're not mechanically inclined, even then, I mean, you know, it only covers parts. So, you know, you'll have to figure out how to replace them yourself. So either way, you're kind of SOL with that. That's just how I feel with the warranties. Now, the next step is assembly. Now, some makers offer this and some don't, but Venom offers this, which they do the full PDI, which is pretty much, you know, not really that much stuff to do. Personally, I wouldn't really, you know, get this option because I'm going to be showing you and telling you exactly what you need to do later on, so that you don't really have to, you know, pay this extra $250. But if you pretty much don't want to do anything on a bike, then yeah, you know, it's worth it. But for my case, I'm not really going to get any of this. So now the processing is different here, because they actually have like a rush service, which you could pay an extra $89, which for me personally, I really wouldn't get that. But if you want it to be rushed or whatever, they have that option, an extra $89. I don't know why this keep going down, but now the MCO, this one they have UPS Express at no additional cost. So they'll have the bill of sale, well, which is pretty much your invoice, and then they'll have the MCO express service. They don't send it through the mail, which is pretty good. Now they have different options where you can, this one's a little bit lower than the other one. Okay, they have like 2 different financing services that you can use, but we're not going to get to that yet. Okay, I added it to my cart, so we're going to view the cart. So right now it has expiration date. Well, this is for the price, but don't worry about that because it's always a good price or whatever. Now you got your special instructions. If you have any questions, you could put it here to ask the seller. You agree to the terms. All right, we're gonna go to checkout, and then they'll send us to how we're gonna pay for this. Now, if they have the option for PayPal, then I'll show you how to do that, and they do have the option for PayPal. Okay. This you just enter your email address. Mine's is this is the public one that I use, YASHIroku at Gmail. I have this account, so if you want to send me something. My shipping address, I'm just gonna put just some random. I'm gonna put Yashi here for my first name and Roku for my last name. My company is YASHIroku. And the address, what's your address? I might use an old address or something. Let's use, I don't know, 555. Yeah, Madison Ave, New York. I don't know what that is, but we'll see. I think that's probably like a hotel or something. But anyway, my phone number is same thing. 717-555-1234. Alright, we're going to continue to shipping, because this isn't real information. It's going to, now, they have doorstep delivery. Now, some places charge you extra for this. I believe it's an extra like $300 or something like that. If you don't have like a lift gate. But in this case, they have free doorstep delivery. So we're going to continue to just keep that in mind. Some places they do charge you extra if you don't have a lift gate. So if you have like a loading dock or something, or if you're going to delivery at your job or whatever, and they have a loading dock, then you don't have to pay that fee. But in this case, they do it, so you don't have to really worry about that extra fee, at least for at Venom. Now we're going to how we're going to pay for this. Now they offer PayPal. Now with PayPal, this is how I bought my bike. Well, not exactly from here, but I had the option to use PayPal, and PayPal has PayPal credit, which in my case, I didn't want to shell out all the money at one time, even though I did pay it off. I had the money to pay the bike off, but I kind of wanted to have a little bit of flexibility, especially because I was modding at the time. You go to PayPal, and then you apply for PayPal credit. Now, I believe when I did it, like, my credit wasn't really that good, because I was, I'm not really that old or anything. Just for everybody to know. And I'm still, well, now I have it, but at that time I didn't really have like a lot of a high enough credit, because at the time I was really like building credit or whatever. So I had a decent amount of credit, and what they did was they credited me about, I think, $1,700. So I pretty much put a down payment of like $500 at the time, and then I credited the rest through PayPal, which I liked because they had 6 months you can pay it off. They've changed the terms. They have like a minimum amount that you have to pay a month, but at that time they didn't really have any limit. So pretty much if I paid it off within the time, I didn't have to do any interest. and I believe the interest rate is kind of high. It depends from person to person. But long as you pay it off within that time period or whatever. In my case, I didn't have any minimum payments, so really I didn't. I could have just messed around, and then by the 6 month just paid it off or whatever. But now they have minimum payments that you have to pay, which isn't bad, but it does give you that flexibility. So you can do that, especially if you have the money, or you know that you could pay it off within that time period or whatever. In my case, it was 6 months. I don't know if you can get more or whatever, but I know that they have 6 months zero interest. So if you put a big down payment down and you pay it off within 6 months or whatever, you'll be pretty much done. I didn't want to shell out all that cash at one time, even though I had it, but I didn't, I wanted to be stingy a little bit. But that didn't really work out for me, so either way, I just paid it off, I think, within, like, the next month. I had 6 months, but I pretty much just paid the bike off. But that's just an option, a more affordable option, route that you can go. They also have, like, these other options where they run your credit and stuff, and then you can pay payments. So I believe one of these you could pay I think $75 a month, which isn't bad or whatever. And the other one, if you want to pay it off a little bit quicker, was like 100 or something. So pretty much you could pay it off. It depends on how you want to pay. Of course, paying it up front is a lot better. So after you're done that, you complete your order. We're not doing that because I'm not putting in any information or whatever. So once you place your order, you'll get an email confirmation from Venom Motorsports or any other place that you want to get it from. This one, I don't believe they have it. They have now this is a reputable place. If you're a part of any of the Facebook groups, I believe Clone Society or Clone Army, they one of the users owns this site. Oh, they do have it, and it's cheaper. All right, here you got it for $11.99.99, which is cheaper, way cheaper. So if you go through them, and they offer a lot more colors. They have red and the black and white. Let's try red. So with shipping, I don't know. I'm just gonna put in this and see what's going on with that. With shipping, it's free shipping. Okay, that works. So we proceed with checkout, and they actually have the PayPal credit. So you enter all your information. I already entered my information before, and they have the credit option. So I don't think you could get any other credit option. This is just what they have. $11.99.99, which is way cheaper than Venom. This place is pretty good. I mean, they're on Facebook, and they deal with a lot of like aftermarket parts for it though. A lot of users come here for a lot of the aftermarket parts. They're very reputable. I mean, they even sell SSR parts. Bobcat Motorsports is this is where I bought my bike. Well, one of my bikes, not the Boom, but they do sell. They sell a lot of the booms and such. Well, the Taos. They sell Taos. They sell. Because they have one specifically for it, or at least I thought they had one specifically for it. Because this is all mixed together. I believe. No, they mix them all together. Oh, they have the Storm too. Well, they have the Tao. They even have the I think the Sportsman or whatever. But we're not looking at the dual sports. They even have Mad Dogs. They have the Tao. They have this. This one looks. Wait, what brand is this? This one really looks like the plastics are actually Grom plastics. I'm very interested in that because yeah, those look like direct copies. I haven't seen that before. I don't know who makes that. But they have that one. they have the Forza, and then they have this 50cc bike, and that's all they have. Very small collection, but they have this one. This one, if you know want it, they have it for 13, and they have the Forza, or however you want to pronounce it. If you're looking for the stretch look, these are pretty solid bikes. The only thing I don't like about this bike is the gearing is reversed. That's something that I don't really like. Okay, now we're just going to be waiting for our bike to come in the mail. No, not really in the mail, but come off the truck, the freight truck rather. So the freight company will contact you to set up a date of and time when you are going to get your bike. In this case, we're going to have a liftgate service, which is pretty much it's going to come on a box truck, and it has a mechanical liftgate so that they can pretty much put the crate on the floor, which is an extra service that you have to have, because usually they use a dock, so they just back the truck up into the dock and then slide off the crate or whatever. You use your forklift, or for the most part they slide it off. They use a hand jack rather to get it on the dock or whatever. Well, to get it in your building or whatever. But in our case, it's residential. They're going to have a lift jack, and they're going to have the thing on the back that actually acts as if it was like an elevator, which is a lift gate. That's pretty much what it is. It's mechanical, and they're going to use a lift jack. When they're on the floor, they use a lift jack, and they'll just pretty much put it anywhere you want. Preferably with this, I would say, if you have a garage or something to get it there. Some people have like apartment buildings and stuff like that. That might be a little bit difficult. But if you live in a house as such with a garage or some kind of walkway or whatever, like those single floor houses, something like that, a driveway or whatever, that would be the perfect ideal. It's a metal crate pretty much. So once you get it out the crate, once you get the sockets and all of that, not the sockets, the nuts and the bolts and stuff, and unbolt it off the metal frame that it's on, you might need a jack. Personally, if you're doing it yourself, you might need like extra things to actually hoist the bike up. But if you got two people, that'll help out. I've always had a partner to take it out, at least till I put the front wheel on. Once you put the front wheel on, you can handle it. The front wheel and set the shock. That's pretty much all you really need, just somebody to hold it up for you. But you can use a jack or a jack stand or something, or a hoist, even better, to help you with those things, because the bike is pretty heavy. But if you got a friend, buy them lunch or something. Don't take your friend for granted. Get them something. You don't have to give them the world or anything, but just treat them to something. Help you to put the bike together, or your family or something. Something like that. Just help them out because they're helping you out. So once that's all stable, go over your bolts to make sure that your main bolts are good. Like I was saying before, you want to have Loctite. A lot of people don't do this, but as an extra precaution, you want to get the two types of Loctite, which is the red locker and the blue locker. The red locker is more for permanent bolts, like your engine bolts, bolts that you're not gonna, or bolts that you don't want to come off or whatever. And then you use the blue one for if you want to remove them. Now the red locker isn't permanent. It's just the only way for you to remove it. It'll be a pain to kind of remove it, because you have to use heat, and you'll have a hard time those bolts don't want to budge once you put that on there. It's not meant to be removed. But that's only for the extreme bolts. Definitely for the rear engine mount bolt, but I would just replace it. You just replace the engine mount bolts, because they will snap. That's a common thing, especially that rear one will snap all the time. I've had to replace mine like twice. It's just something, you have to get at least like a grade 8 bolt for it. That's just something that, happens over time, at least from the bolts that they use. That's going to be something that you'll have to do. Using the blue one, the blue locker, just, your common bolts or whatever to use. You don't have to use them for your fairing screws or anything, just your bolts, if you choose to. Because sometime over time when you're riding, a lot of bolts do come off. That's just a common thing. They shake off because the bike does a lot of vibrations. So if those bolts are not locked in or whatever, they will shake off, and that's been a potential hazard for certain riders. I've heard like bolts shake off or whatever, because they didn't take that extra precaution. Just something to think about. Just go over your bolts, tighten your bolts, but using the thread locker is your best bet and your friend. You don't have to really worry about bolts shaking off on you. The next thing would be to change your oil. Now, a lot of people don't do this, and this is what causes a lot of premature damage to the engine. The running oil that they have with the bike, that's pretty much what it is, just running oil. It's not really the type of oil that you want to ride with. Now, personally, for me, my go-to oil weight or whatever is 10W40, but you also can use 10W30. I just go by 10W40. That's just the weight that I go to. For your braking oil, I wouldn't go full synthetic or even use a synthetic blend or anything. I would just use conventional oil. Once you get about maybe 600 miles on it, then you can switch to more premium type oil. Usually during that time or whatever, I do like 2 oil changes, or possibly, it depends on if the bike has been sitting or whatever. But during that time, I probably do, it depends. If the bike sits, if you don't do a lot of riding or whatever, then yeah, you probably can get away with just doing that one initial oil change when you first get it, and then do your second oil change around like maybe 600 to 1,000 miles. But that's your preference. But your first initial oil change should be done with conventional oil. Don't use synthetic. Don't switch to synthetic. Usually, a lot of people say not to switch to synthetic at all. But personally, if you have like more miles on it, switch to synthetic. It's a lot better, especially for this application, which uses a clutch. So it's a lot better, in my opinion. But only do that when you put a lot of miles on it, at least like 600 to 1,000 something miles or more. And the next thing will be to set the battery. With my bike, I had to actually put the fluid into the battery. I don't like doing that. Usually with the Chinese batteries or whatever that you get with them, like the first batteries, I usually get rid of them anyway, and then I switch to like an AMG, which which you can get from Batteries Plus for about like $40. You can get those locally. The one I have is from Duracell. Duracell makes them. But it doesn't really matter. A battery's a battery. You can get a Mighty Max battery. I had one of those, and those are like the cheapest ones. I bought that battery for about like $17. So you can get that. The next thing would be just to test your blinkers, because sometimes with my version, if you have the flush fairing hazards, I get turn signals. That's the word. If you have those, make sure that the connectors are in. A lot of people would panic to think that it's broke or whatever, but it could be just the connector fell out, because those connectors suck. They really do. I mean, if you want to change those, you can, and actually get a better harness for them, because they have like these little butt connectors, which is what I like to call them. Little butt connector things that they have, but they, over time, they, like I said, the bike does a lot of vibrations and they shake out. So you got the battery. Go over your bolts. Go over your electrical connectors. That's pretty much it for the most part to get you riding. Now, when you go into modding and stuff like that, like the carbs, changing the headlight, like the bulb or whatnot, that's a little bit more advanced, but this is just to get you on the road. So once all of that maintenance stuff is done, last thing before you even ride the bike, which is super important, because if you don't do this, your bike is not starting. So once you set the battery or whatever, charge the battery. Put it on a Tinder for the night, or any kind of battery charger. I got a Tinder Junior. I bought that for about like $20 from AutoZone. But it really doesn't matter. I mean, you can get a Harbor Freight version. It's the same thing, battery tender. All it does is just charge the battery, or you can get your own battery charger or whatnot. The battery tender. I just love the battery tenders, which are tickle chargers. I love using those. So you can actually get like a real battery charger if you want to. But you can, the battery tenders are just as good to charge the batteries. So once you charge the batteries, now you're set up for your first ride after you get your title and such. So I am going to talk about that next. Okay, now that we got the bike, now we got the MCO and the bill of sale. Well, this is the actual bill of sale that I got, but that's pretty much what it is. It's just an invoice. So we paid $609.99, and they shipped us the MCO. Now, when you go to DMV, they are going to need this. They are going to need this bill of sale, and they're also going to need insurance. Now, the insurance I didn't really go into. Insurance varies from person to person. Now with this bike, my insurance per year was only $75. And that's pretty much basic because, at least with, what I used was Progressive. I've been using that for years and I got somewhat of a discount from it. So I used it, continued to use it. So I only had to pay $75 for the year. Like I said, insurance varies from person to person. My record is somewhat good because I have a few accidents and I have a few speeding tickets. But I mean, for the most part, it's pretty decent because I haven't really been getting anything like that, crazy or whatever. At least from the time I got the bike. So it was about $75 a year. So I paid the $75. I'm going to add that onto this for my total of how much you have to pay for everything on the bike. So we just paid our insurance. We got our insurance. All you really need is the evidence of insurance until you get your insurance card. But once you get that, you get the MCO. You already have this stuff, so you'll have to take the MCO, the bill of sale, and your proof of insurance to DMV. So when you get to DMV, you get your you have to get a registration form and a title form. I don't know, each state is different, but I use both of them because I had to get it titled and I had to get a registration for it. So the title process, they use this for the title process. They take this, then they'll give you your own title for your state. Then they'll process your registration. That's when they use the bill of sale and all of that, and that's when they do all your of how much you're going to pay total. Now, in my state, the total was for registration and title was $243, which isn't unheard of. That's about how much you pay. Some places you pay more. That's with tax and everything, because you don't pay tax with the bill of sale when you get it. So when you title it or whatnot, that's when you start paying sale tax. That's why they want a bill of sale. So you pay your state tax or whatever. You get your title and your registration. So with that total, it'll be $1942.99. That's in my state. If I was to, do this process again, that would be how much I pay, plus the $75 for the insurance that I pay. I'm going to add that into the price too. So it's grand total of $2017.99. So $2,017.99 for the total process to get this thing road legal. That's excluding the maintenance, which you have to also pay. But that's pretty much how much you pay to get a plate, to get insured, to get legal, pretty much. So that's the total. In our case, if we were to buy this bike or whatever, that's how much we'll pay. And still under ground price. Now, of course, if you get something different, a little bit more expensive, if you get the KP 150, or if you get the Benelli, it's pretty much, or Spade, that gets overlooked a lot. But if you get something of those that start pretty much at this price, this is the cheap. This is dirt cheap, and especially with this one, you can get cheaper because this is from Venom. So this is Venom's price. Of course, you could get it cheaper. You can also get the Gen that I have, which is the Gen 1, a lot cheaper. Some people say that they can get it for $900. I don't know about all that, especially with all these extra fees that you have to pay. So in total, it's about two grand to get everything. A lot of people don't know that there's more to it. Your insurance and then your document fees and such like that. Of course, if you can get it from a dealer, like locally or whatever, you probably got all of that in the price. Possibly if they can give you a tag. If not, then yeah, you're going to have to pay that on your own. So yeah, that's pretty much the whole process. Pretty straightforward, I mean, for the most part. So if you're in the market of getting it, it's way cheaper than a Grom, because a Grom doesn't even come close to that amount. But I mean, yeah. So that's how much you'll pay, a ballpark of how much you'll pay, which is a steal, which is insane. I should say, which is very insane. I should say, for a brand new bike. So, yeah, YASHIroku out.